We notice, and we have noticed, that Joseph is always obedient to what is revealed. But the thing to note also here is he's not mindless. We're actually given in the description here something of an insight to what's going on in his mind. He's thinking about what he does. And so these are not mutually exclusive. Joseph is an obedient man, but he is also a thoughtful man, okay? And his own thoughts are guided by the revelation that God gives him. It's not a blind obedience, all right? It's a faithful obedience. Point number 10, the prophecy. The prophecy. So verse 23. So that what was spoken by the prophets might be fulfilled, that he, that is the Christ, the Messiah, that the Messiah, the Christ, would be called a Nazarene. Now here's your homework assignment for the week. You are to find the prophecy, he will be called a Nazarene. Find it. Well, that's not your homework. Okay? And that would be mean of me, because there is no such text. Take your concordance, you check for it. There's not going to be any text in the Old Testament anywhere that says he will be called a Nazarene. Okay. Again, did Matthew make a mistake? Absolutely not. What does this mean? Again, we'll take that up next time. All right. It's perfectly true what he says. But there's an angle to it. Point number 11. So this is our last thought. And we'll just make it as a bit of a teaser. But it's an important one. So it's simply the point. What's this come to? I want to flesh it out more next time, but here's the point. Now, why did I do that reading from Deuteronomy 28? Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 28 proclaims blessings to Israel for obedience, if you obey all that you are commanded this day. Blessings for obedience and curses on Israel for disobedience. What did Israel do? Disobeyed. Okay. How many Israelites were disobedient? Well, all of them. You're not going to find a finer Israelite than Isaiah. What did Isaiah say? Woe is me, I am undone. Paul, in Romans chapter 3, verse 10, he's quoting Psalm verse 14, verse 3. None is righteous, no, not one. Okay. Therefore, by Deuteronomy 28, what has been earned? Curse. By the way, are we any better? No. Raises this question. What if there was a true Israelite? What if there was someone who embodied everything that Israel was supposed to be, and in fact did what Israel was supposed to do? What would he deserve? Well, Deuteronomy 28 says he would deserve blessing. That is the promise. And what if Jesus is that man? What if he is the true Jew? See, the point is not just that Jesus is Jewish. Jesus is the Jew, the only true Jew, the only obedient Israelite. And what if the very pattern of his life recapitulates the history of Israel, and where Israel sinned, Jesus did not? Listen, like Israel, he is called God's son. Like Israel, he went to Egypt, and like Israel, he came out of Egypt. But unlike Israel, he did not sin in the wilderness. Do you see the parallel? What if God says, both now to Jews and to Gentiles, receive him as your king, trust in him as your Savior, and I will reckon his blessing, promised in Deuteronomy 28, I will reckon his blessing to you. Folks, that just might be the essential story of the Bible. Blessing for obedience, promised to Israel in Deuteronomy 28. Jesus is the true Israel. The blessing is his, but by faith, his blessing includes us. That is what the Bible's all about. We'll take it up next week. We're going to close with the hymn. We sang it last week. We'll sing it again this week. The tune is familiar. When Christ's appearing was made known.